deoxyribonucleic acid, formed in this or that structure is the molecular basis for life. Obviously, that would have made no sense 3,500 years ago. But the Bible talks about. Go ahead.
But if it did say it, that would be extremely good evidence that it actually is some sort
it
of
would have been
inspired word.
If the God of the Bible would have used current day scientific vernacular to try to impress the people who already don't believe in him, that may have been effectual for the people today. But when the science changes and we find out maybe there's something more reducible than DNA, or maybe there's something else, then the science that God put in there is going to be dismissed by everyone not in the time frame of the science that we're looking for. I don't know if I made sense of that, but the point is how it works is more necessary than to say this is exactly what it is, because that information has been changing over time, and we think we figure out what's fundamental reality, and then we find out something else. So honestly, if he were to say it's this and this and this, when we actually figure this out, that's when it would have been applicable to it. The rest of the times people would have been like, I can't trust this book because what is DNA? We can't see that. You're stupid. So anyways, side note. Okay, the Bible does talk about epigenetics. Your last guest mentioned epigenetics. You can actually have life experiences that are branded into the DNA, seared into it, however this happens, and passed down genetically. Epigenetics works in multiple different ways, but life experience alters the genes for the next generation. And the Bible talks about the sins of the father being passed down for 7 generations. And if we look at it, we're starting to figure out what
Isn't
this
that a curse,
moment...
though?
It can be a curse, and it can also be a positive thing. See, the thing about people get mad about God in that part of it, but God created the gene code that how you live your life, if you have a good life and you do good things, you can pass down those traits to the next generation. Hardworking, integrity, getting money, etc. If you live a bad life, cheating on your wife, doing these things, addiction, whatever, you can pass those on too. It's an actual transference of life experience passed down to the next generation, which is brilliant if people made good use of it. Imagine going, cool, I've set my kids off on a good trajectory, as opposed to what we actually do, which is kind of curse them because the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, and a chip off the old block. So think about that. If you're a parent in this room, the things you do in your life will affect and can affect generations, which the Bible predicted, and would only make sense if there was some sort of record-keeping, information-based transference of these life experiences, which I think is a good way to explain what DNA is. It's not the chemical explanation, but it's the functional explanation.
Okay, my response to that, I have a couple of hold on, let me grab my microphone here. I have a couple of things to say. For one, this is my cat. 2,
love that cat.
You could, yeah, I mean, I hear the argument, like, the curses that get passed down 7 generations, well, we know that epigenetics has these effects. It's like, okay, what makes more sense to assume? That people that thought the sun orbits the earth thought that curses were real and were really just writing about curses, or that they somehow knew something about DNA. Or even if you don't think they knew anything about DNA, God just spoke to them in a way that allowed them to say something that DNA is doing or whatever, even though not knowing that it exists. I think that that's just too cute to be a good explanation. I think it's far more reasonable that they just were kind of writing about actual curses and nothing more than that.